Are you ready to live the life you love, the life you were created to live? Then welcome to Outside the Pulpit. I'm your host, Lisa Metter, and you've just stepped into a space where faith meets mindset and personal transformation fuels real life conversations. If you're navigating growth, leadership, or life's challenges beyond traditional spaces, then you're in the right place. As a minister and certified life and goal coach, I'm here to remind you, today is the perfect day to win the war in your mind. You can break free from those limiting beliefs and boldly step into the life you were meant for. Welcome back to Outside the Pulpit. This is episode number 5, and I have been looking forward to this because I have purposed that every 5th episode is going to be an opportunity for me to share a story with you. I have had so many amazing experiences through the years, and I love to share them with people. So I'm going to take this time to do that. We're going to get back to our mindset work, but today let's do something a little different, and let's sit back and relax, and let me relate something to you that I had experienced when we made our first trip to Africa. So this is my first trip, as I was saying, and we were going to Kenya. Our plan was to be there for 30 days. And I've been asked many times, do I have a favorite memory of our experiences with our mission work? And I can't really say that I have one favorite, but I definitely have some that rise to the top. And this one today has to do with the sweet children of Africa. So I just want to share this with you. Man is God's most precious creation. We have to always respect and treasure that. We are more alike than we are different if we will only allow ourselves to see it and experience it. This first trip to Kenya, my brain was working overtime. I'm just not going to even try to cover that up because that's a big part of the story. My husband and 2 of our friends planned this trip, and we were going to stay 30 days visiting various villages while engaging in our mission work. So we were going to be driving all over the country, and my mind was really trying to comprehend what this would be like. Y'all, I like to be prepared. I'm not kidding. And my friend Patty's the same way. We had just spent the better part of a year running every worst case scenario over in our minds. And then we packed for it. We had hand sanitizer, Neosporin, bandages, Depends, medicine, hot pots, portable food, sleep sacks, water purifiers, portable fans. Y'all get the picture. We even had a pop-up tent in case we needed to go to the bathroom while accessing the rural areas. It's not like there's a QT or a racetrack on every corner. So prepare. That's what I did, and that's what I'd like to do. So I had our supplies gathered, our travel documents set, our backup plans in place, so we are good to go. But man, oh man, my brain was really working overtime. I was trying to imagine what it would be like. So I looked at pictures, I studied the culture and the climate and the geography, things like that, just to try to help measure my expectations, just to know and prepare myself. But in reality, I just did not have much to go on. I had never done anything like this before. I will admit this, that working on those plans really did keep my mind occupied, and it kept me in control of what was happening. But there was an underlying excitement that I could feel, a wonder that was taking hold of me. I had this strong feeling that something, really life-changing was about to happen. I had that inner certainty that I would not come back home as the same woman I was when I left. I never have been one to let go of the reins and just wait to see what happens. But There is a first time for everything. And I finally just surrendered myself to the possibilities of what might be. Kind of like when you're finally letting go of the kite string and you just let it roll off the spool as the wind carries it away. I had no idea how this trip would have that same impact on my life, sending me off to my destiny. So, get ready, Kenya. This is happening. So we take this journey. It's 17 hours to fly from the United States, and when we get there, maybe I'll tell all of this in another story, but we ended up spending 12 hours overnight in the Nairobi airport in an unair-conditioned restaurant on wooden stools. We were really tired. There's just no other way to say it. But nevertheless, when we did finally land at our destination, I was overcome just with excitement. That tiredness left my body and I stepped out of that plane. I'll never forget it. My eyes instantly began to squint from the bright equator sun. It seemed like it was just a few feet from my face. I made my way down the steps to the tarmac and began to feel my skin sting from the sun. I had never experienced the sun like this before. It was like it was just inches from me. Totally amazing to me. And inside my mind is just a whir, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're here. And I'm not sure, honestly, if I thought there would be elephants and giraffes meeting us, maybe Maasai warriors, I don't know, but my expectations were high. My intentions were set. I was ready to take it all in and not miss a moment, not a single detail of what I was about to experience. And I didn't. And just so y'all know, I've got the 5,000 pictures and videos to prove it. So I'm walking across this tarmac towards the baggage area. As I was saying, just overwhelmed with all of what is happening. And then this reality settles in. I'm just a woman from Georgia, a little town. And I've lived my life and raised my family. I've had very little exposure to outside cultures and people, and yet here I am. I had no idea my life would be forever changed in just a little over 24 hours from that moment. We went on in and secured our luggage. Yes, I'm going to keep talking about that luggage. We secured all that luggage, and we went to wait for our driver to pick us up. I have to put in here that, maybe it wasn't the most wise decision we've ever made to make our driving arrangements with a man we had never met before. We didn't even honestly know exactly who we were looking for as we were standing in the lobby of that airport, looking around to see, if someone would recognize us, because clearly we stood out. And we did happen to see someone that we had been communicating with, and him and his party came over and greeted us and welcomed us, but they weren't our driver. Our driver did finally show up, of course, but we were really grateful for those that did show up because, as it turns out, the car that our driver rented was not enough to carry all of this luggage that we had. So some of it went in the car that was rented for us, and then some of it went with the other people that had met us there. So we're thankful for that. And we begin this 1-hour journey in an unair-conditioned car who, need I say, needed a little support in the shock absorber area. So there we went. We were on our way. But honestly, we were just excited about it. We really weren't even considering the conditions at the moment. So away we go from the Kisumu airport with our 1-hour drive to our hotel. This is a whole nother experience, y'all. When we arrived, we discovered our rooms were so small. We didn't have a place for our suitcases. We had to store them under our beds. There were no screens on the windows. and there was this grit on the floor. You could just hear it and feel it. Needless to say, I did not take off my shoes the entire time, but they were small. And do you remember all the stuff I told you that we packed? Well, there was no room for that. We had to rent a third room. So all of that extra stuff went into the third room. We got settled in, and the rest of us, or the rest of our party rather, they went on to sleep, but I was just too keyed up. I could not go to sleep. So I do what I do, and I organized. I went on over to that third room that we rented, and I got all that stuff out of the suitcases and organized it, and that really did help my mind begin to just unwind and settle down and prepare for what was coming. I finally laid down for just a little bit, but before you know it, it was time to get up and head out to our first mission meeting, and I was really looking forward to that. It was about an hour from where we were staying in a little town called Mumias, and there's actually a small village just on the outskirts of that town. What a beautiful little place. Our car turned onto the property, and the first thing is I could hear the people singing inside the church. It was absolutely beautiful. We drove on up the little drive and pulled up under a tree to get a little shade. And as I got out of the car, the people just came up to us to greet us, and it was amazing. You know, they were so welcoming and loving. And as I stepped away from the car, I was surrounded by children and young teenagers. They were smiling and looking at me. Some were hesitating and bashful, not sure what to think, but others were reaching out and they were touching my skin. And I just was watching them as they were touching my skin, and then I realized they had never seen a white person before. That was so amazing to me. So I stood there, and I wasn't scared or offended. I was just really caught up in that moment. And it was just a pure innocence that flooded over me, just watching their sweet faces. I noticed them then begin looking at my hair. I had tied it up when we were in the car because it was hot. I was trying to get it up off my neck. I untied my hair and let it fall down on my shoulders. The look of excitement and anticipation as they saw my hair come down, they giggled and covered their faces. I leaned forward and I let my hair just flow to the front. The sheer excitement in their eyes was obvious, and I said, "Do you want to touch my hair?" Immediately, one of the young girls just reached out and gently ran her hand from the top of my head down to the ends of my hair. She smiled with pleasure. Then others began reaching out and touching it. You know, I have no idea what they thought, but their faces sure did light up, and smiles came across their faces. It was one of the most precious things I've ever seen. And really, to this day, it is a surreal moment. I suddenly had the urge to tell them my name. I wanted them to know who I was. So I told them, and for the first time in my life, I heard my name repeated back to me with a Swahili accent. That made me smile. They smiled too. And it just moved me. I was humbled. I was honored. They repeated it over and over. It's like they were committing it to memory, as if there was some significance to who I was. And then, this is so beautiful. They began telling me their names. We all laughed as my Western Southern girl tongue tried to let those syllables roll out. It just wasn't happening. But with insistence, they kept asking me to say each of their names. I really felt an intensity in each request. They were feeling what I was feeling. They wanted to share who they were with me. Looking back, I remember I began to feel a little uncomfortable, but I didn't draw back. We all stood there communicating with smiles and touches and repeating of names. And I began to observe, just the entirety of the situation. Who am I? I'm just a woman on a journey. What is it that they're wanting from me? I steadied myself and I looked into their eyes one more time. And that's when I saw it. I don't have to be anyone special. I was special because I was standing there with them, and I was from the outside world. They just wanted to be seen. They just wanted to know that they mattered. So I did my best to touch each one and look in each pair of eyes and say their name. As I stood there looking at those sweet faces with big bright smiles, listening to their giggles of pleasure and wonder, I knew in a way that I could never have known before that we are all one blood. We are all one human race, and we are connected all around the world. The moment was surreal. It was life-changing. Me and them. We were all experiencing so many firsts. There will never be another first time for them to see and touch a white person. There will never be another first time for me to experience such pure fascination and simple acceptance. Surely, in that moment, the kite string of my life was unwinding higher than I ever thought possible. That moment with the children, hearing my name and their voices, saying their names back to them, realizing how deeply we're all connected, that memory changed me forever. It reminded me that no matter where we come from, we all long for the same simple thing: to be seen, to be known, and to matter. And that is one memory that I will treasure for the rest of my life. I hope you can feel that connection in your life today. Maybe next time when you're meeting someone different from you, you can take a moment and you can look them in the eyes. You can say their name. You can see them. Because in the end, that's all of us really want: to be seen and to be loved and to know that we matter. God bless. Thank you for spending time with me today on Outside the Pulpit. My hope is that this conversation encouraged, challenged, or inspired you in some way. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at Lisa, L-I-S-A, at outsidethepulpit.blog. I always welcome real stories from real people. Now, if you're looking for more like this, visit our website, www.outsidethepulpit.blog, where you'll find downloadable journals and devotionals, coaching and workshop opportunities, and links to my Rodan and Fields skincare business. Everything there is designed to meet you where you are and support you on your journey. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's keep growing together. Until next time, keep creating the life you love, the life you are meant to live.